Hey everybody, Drone here with another Star Trek First Edition video. Today we're going to do the first of our crossover events with Snack Trek. Um, Gerald over at Snack Trek posted a video of him playing a Alpha Quadrant Voyager deck against Patty. So check that out. You can watch Gerald play the deck in this match. Now, the crossover portion of this is that after conferring with Gerald, what we're going to do here at Coach Jaeger Academy is we're going to take the deck, which Gerald admits is a bit of a casual build right now, and we're going to give it a competitive punch up. We're going to go ahead and apply our knowledge and our experience in high level competitive play, and we're going to take the deck and we're going to make changes to it in order to make it more efficient to start with, because efficiency is an important part of a competitive deck. And then we're going to try to streamline it a little bit so that the lines of play are a little bit more tight. And then kind of the third thing we're going to do is we're going to just kind of tweak the personnel so that the personnel that are in the deck are maybe a little bit better. Um, if you want to have a competitive tournament deck, you need to have as many free plays and as much drawing as you possibly can, because this is essentially a solver deck. So everything about what this deck is doing has to be towards that goal. This is not a mid-range deck. This will not be an interference deck. This will be a solver deck. So everything that it does has to be doing solving and protecting itself from interference decks. And it can protect itself by either playing essentially some counter cards, or it'll protect itself by going so fast and low to the ground that the battle deck isn't necessarily able to do much about it. Voyager will have the advantage of having blue alert, so it will be able to land, so it can't be shot in space. It'll be able to go low to the ground because we'll be able to attempt space missions with just crappy Type 9 shuttlecrafts with like one person on board that only commit what we absolutely have to get through things, and so forth. I looked over the deck, I watched him play the deck, and I've looked over the deck for, a day or two now. I copied it over into my own deck builder, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to make changes to it. So, first things first, as far as making that competitive punch up. And first off, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna identify the things that are not helping the deck do what it wants to do. I understand that some of these might be a little bit of a hedge bet, as in like, Gerald, his thoughts on it was that he would have it in there because he felt like it would be some kind of protection of some kind. But we're going for competitive here, so while those things may be a good hedge of a bet in a casual format, kitchen table game, local, regional, something like that, it may not necessarily be the best thing to do if you want to be the most efficient, because if you're going to be a solver deck, you're going to face other solver decks, and you have to be better than them. And then when you face the interference decks or the mid-range decks, you have to have just enough protection in there that you can try to work your way around them. So the first thing that jumped out at me in this deck list was the Battle Bridge Door, and the fact that since this is not a battle deck, it's Feds, it's not a battle deck, you're not using that offensively, and again, this is a solver deck, so whatever Battle Bridge thing you're doing here, it needs to basically be defensive. Now, it looks like he did more or less try to do that. He basically built essentially a slightly more defensive battle bridge. But that's a seed slot, and, if you are moving fast and low to the ground, you'll do nothing with it against another solver opponent. and a battle opponent, if they're truly dedicated to whaling on you, Battle Bridge isn't necessarily going to be the thing that saves you or protects you enough. So I don't like the Battle Bridge for this deck at the competitive level. We can use that seed slot for something better, and some of the additional thoughts I have in mind will make it more clear as to why the Battle Bridge is kind of the first thing to go. So we're going to get rid of the Battle Bridge, and we're going to get rid of, obviously, everything that's in the Battle Bridge. Okay, so that's the first thing we've done. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make the change. We're going to get rid of this Voyager. This ability here, Shuttlecraft you download may come from your discard pile, is not that big of a deal. The only thing that it does is allow you to discard to the full complement of shuttles, go get a shuttle, and then discard that one to go get the one that's out of the discard pile. I don't really understand, like how this ability is really worth doing. What's more important is being able to not seed Blue Alert and have that be something that we just simply download out of a Q's tent instead. So that's the very next change we're going to make. We're going to swap Voyagers. All right. USS Voyager. Okay, so we're not going to do it's in the Q's tent, right? Yep. We're not doing that Voyager. We're doing Delta Quadrant Voyager. Did I just go to the draw deck for no reason? Oh my gosh, okay. Alright. There we go. Okay, we're also just going to pull a Type 9 shuttle out here, and then we can redo the math later on that one. Okay. So that's the next change we make. So then that means that we're going to put the Blue Alert into the Q's tent, and we're going to take out established landing protocols, because that's essentially a duplication of an effect, because the Blue Alert, your shuttlecraft may be carried aboard and launched from your ships that have tractor beam. So, Blue Alert's doing exactly what established landing protocols is doing, and Blue Alert can't be nullified. So I don't even know why established landing protocols is in the deck, to be perfectly honest, other than the fact that it saves on one range, and it allows you to land and take off on the same turn, I believe. But realistically, you're going to just take off, or you're just going to land on a turn. It's not really going to be a thing most of the time where you really need both. So, again, this is just kind of like an efficiency thing here that while having both means, you could do both, it takes 3 range to do it all at one turn. And so that's not really even going to happen. Okay? And as far as like being, launching from your ships, if Voyager's landed and then you launch the shuttlecraft, it still doesn't require any range to do that. You launch and you're in space. Okay? And so the landing and taking off, I don't know that one additional range is that big of a deal. And the landing and taking off on the same turn, I don't really think is necessary. So that's the next change, is we're going to go ahead and take the established landing protocols out, and we're going to put Blue Alert into the Q's tent. That gives us another seed slot. Okay. Third thing we're going to do is call for reinforcements is great for being able to repair your ship, but he's just playing with a regular Federation outpost, and what we can do is we can most likely switch to Starbase 247 to get space dock, which then would allow us to, which is then going to allow us to have the ability to repair our ships quickly, and then call for reinforcements. Repairability is not that big of a deal anymore for the most part. It does broadcast it, so we could repair a ship. But again, if the purpose of this deck is that we never really put Voyager at risk because it's landed or docked, then repairing Voyager is not really a concern, and we're definitely not concerned about repairing Type 9 shuttlecrafts for the most part. So call for reinforcements being a one-off is less flexible and less, gives us less options than just going with a space store. So that's the next change we're going to make, is we're just going to get rid of the call for reinforcements, and we're going to go with a space store. And once again, Kevin's having problems with buttons today. Okay. All right, and so that's the next change we make. All right. And I think we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make the change where we go with the Starbase 247. It means committing to seeding it in space, but we need to basically have a space mission next to our planet mission anyway. So when we're seeding our missions out, that's kind of what we're doing. So regardless of what we have for missions, and because we'll get to that eventually, our plan is we're just going to basically try to stick a space mission and a planet next to each other in every game. And that will allow us then to just simply put our process mining ore and our duck blind on the exact same mission, and we'll just keep it straight and keep it tight that way. And so we can just go with Starbase 247. So get rid of the Federation outpost. Add in Starbase 247, and then in the outside the game, during the seed phase, we just simply download Space Dock. Okay. All right. All right. So we now have 2 seed slots that we can work with. Because right now he has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He has 17 dilemmas, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's fine. We can either go to 19 dilemmas, we can go to 18 dilemmas and have a seed card, or we can just go 2 seed cards and leave the 17 dilemmas. If we're playing a speed solver deck, it'd be better to have the dilemmas, but not necessarily, because as long as we need to have the deck do what it needs to do first. So we'll worry about the dilemmas after we figure out the seeds. So this is where we're going to get into how the deck sets up on the first turn, and that will kind of impact our seeds. So when I looked at his description of how his first turn was going, to me, this whole I don't know that I can staff my ship on the first turn and be able to get my people to where I'm going to go the first turn is a concern. The first turn card play is going to be the Intrepid, and then you need to get Dom Perignon to turn it into Voyager immediately, and that's basically your first turn. And so going with Daring Wallace and Inga Eiger is not what you want to do, because then you only have one staffing icon, okay? And Voyager is a command and a staff. So Daring Wallace has to change at a minimum. Now here's the thing. Assigned Mission Specialist is great, but this is Voyager, okay? Like, we're all property at this point. We're all property, so we don't care if we're going into TOS, and our missions are not necessarily super critical. I understand why he's got like search and rescue and stuff like that, for the purposes of they call themselves the Maquis. But we basically can change review mining operation in the deck. This one's a flex because we don't the 2 points versus the 1 point from process or mining is not that big of a deal because the deck is not 2-mission winning. And so we have review mining operation as a 23rd century flex mission. And so I feel like that goes, and we can decide who's better for us to be seeding. And I already figured this out. What we need to do is we need to get Thelev Impersonator and we need to get Barrener. Barrener will provide us with a command star and anthropology, and then Thelev Impersonator will provide us with the second anthropology and the double treachery, so that we don't have to go get Duran for his double treachery in order to get the weapon to him. Okay? So that way, one seed slot sets us up for our draws and our download, and then that allows us to use, and I'll get to it in a moment here, something else to set up our process or mining. Okay? Because again, we're all property right now. So basically, we're going to need 2 different missions then. Okay, we're going to need Barrener's mission, which is the secure strategic base, and we're going to need Thelev Impersonator's mission, which is going to be, arbitrate negotiations. Both of these missions are extremely doable. What that means is that we're going to end up not having either search and rescue or search for weapons, but I feel like that's fine. Search and rescue is 30 points and it's a 4-span. Search for weapons is 30 points and it's 3-span. We probably want this one just because of the fact that it's only 3 skills and it's only one of those 3 skills. Officer Nav Treachery, and we would basically have Officer and Treachery here. And then we just have to come up with Nav is all you'd have to find in order to solve that mission. So that's what I think that I like instead. So we're going to get rid of Search and Rescue, we're going to get rid of Review Mining Operation, and we're going to put in Secure Strategic Base. Oops. Secure strategic base goes in, and then we get a review mining operation, and we can put in arbitrate negotiations as the other mission. There it is. Okay. And then it allows us to get rid of Inga Eiger, get rid of Darian Wallace. And we're going to put in Barrener and Thelev Impersonator. Where is he? There he is. Okay. And also, we're not worried about having to download Duran anymore because we have the double treachery covered. And so we can actually just get rid of Duran out of the deck. And what we're going to do is, in order to get our double geology, we're going to just simply go with Lieutenant D'Amato via assigned support personnel in the first turn. So we can just put Lieutenant D'Amato in the Q's tent. And in the seed deck, we can put assigned support personnel, because the assigned support personnel will be to just simply download Lieutenant D'Amato to either the Outpost or Voyager, either one works. And then that way you've got a command star, a staff star, double anthropology, double geology, and you're ready to go with everything you're doing in your first turn. So that's how we're going to accomplish our first turn maneuver of everything. Okay. That also allows us to keep Defend Homeworld as a total flex later in the game for I need a person who has a thing to get past a thing. The issue is now is that since we're putting AU personnel into the deck, the 11 person or banner, then the other seed card that we need to then commit to it is whatever is going to allow us to get those AU cards into play. And so we have options then. We can go with Temporal Micro Wormhole, get STP. We can go with AU Door. We can go with Spatial. Right now, we just have personnel. So I like just sticking with Temporal Micro Wormhole. And then we'll get a space-time portal into the deck. We're going to get rid of a phaser. Oops. Did it again. All right. I still like his plan for Quartz Isolinear rods, getting 7 of 9, and then doing nanoprobe resuscitation via the process or mining technique. That's definitely good as a way to get free plays. And then, of course, we have basically new arrivals, or they call themselves the Maquis as the other free plays. That's also good. And given the fact that they call themselves the Maquis getting free plays, now to basically just search for weapons, our seed phase goal is going to be to try to just get one of the space missions next to search for weapons and have that be our first mission, second mission, and then whatever our third mission is that we can get to. Have that be the plan. All right, so now going back and re-examining the situation, the question I have is, how is Jaeger coming into play? Hank's not in the deck, is he? I don't see Pink in the deck. So I don't know how Hager's coming into play. Is he coming into play with as a geology person somehow? I guess I'm not seeing how Hager comes into play. What am I missing? It's just the I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer, just downloading geology. It must be what it is. Okay. That's fine. What I'm thinking is that now that we have once again added in the ability to we've added in the ability to have AU cards into the deck, what I think we should do is we should use the Temporal Micro Wormhole's ability to get anybody that we want, and let's pair that with Defend Homeworld, and we'll go Defend Homeworld for Mirror Bile, and then we will put, we can put Transport Inhibitor, and we can put the Blade of Armor into the deck, and we'll put those just into the draw deck, I think, because some of these cards are coming out. And so that allows us to, because they're cards that we want to draw, that we would want to draw them, we'd be okay with drawing them, and so I think that's going to be our plan now, is Defend Homeworld for Burial, and then if we're playing against Dominion Slaughter, we can get Invasive Transport. If we're playing against Borg, we can get, or any other semi-aggressive opponent, we can get a Blade of Armor to protect ourselves. Especially like Kazon Warfleet's kind of a big deal. And so I like that plan. So we're going to put Mirror Burial into the deck. I think what we're going to do... I don't know that Federation Pad's a thing that we need to care about. I know that it's something that can be downloaded, and I forget who it is here that's downloading it. I mean, Sam Lavelle getting lower decks is all we really need for attribute boost. And so Federation Pad goes out, and Mirror Burial goes into the Q's tent. And then in the draw deck, we can once again we can get rid of these hidden fighters because they're no longer doing anything early. We don't need them. They're not downloading established landing protocols, and we're not having them download Type 9 shuttlecrafts or Delta Flyers. Okay, they're not downloading those into play for us. Okay, we're hoping to basically just draw these and play these, so we don't need hidden fighters. So into the draw deck, we can simply put in the Blade of Armor and a Transport Inhibitor. Both of them are worthwhile card plays against opponents where we would have it in hand. And then if we get one of those in our opening hand or in the second turn, you know, we would then be able to know that Mirror Burial comes in as the downloaded personnel, and we go get the other one directly into play. So then we're like totally covered. So that's kind of we're playing a speed solver. Here's our hedging our bets and giving ourselves a little bit of protection, and it's a little bit more efficient to go this route because you have the flexibility of protecting against people beaming to you and flexibility against people trying to attack you. Especially the Transport Inhibitor, because if we are going to potentially land a Voyager to protect ourselves against, like, say, Kazon Warfleet or what have you, what we can do then is we can simply put the Transport Inhibitor onto the ship so that, say, a Borg opponent or a Dominion opponent can't just beam onto it and start messing with our people. So we can be landed or we can be docked, and there's no way that our opponent can get to our people. We at least have some kind of safe haven. So that, to me, is the best way to do this. So, okay. All right. These Starfleet Type 1 phasers, I get that they're in the deck, I believe, in order to deal with, like, Denovan Neural Pancakes. But I'm not exactly certain that that's important. Because you may not face Denovan Neural Parasites, and even if you do, I don't even know how devastating it necessarily is going to be. What we do need, since we don't have, okay, never mind, we don't have Shankar in the deck. I don't know why Shankar is not in this deck. I feel like Shankar should be in this deck. What we can do is we can just take these out. And is there anything in the Q's tent that we can put in the deck that seems like it'd be better in the deck? Not really. So what we can do then is we can just simply take a gun, take a Starfleet Type 3 phaser rifle, put it into the deck as our one gun to protect, and then Shankar is going into the deck. Or whoever it is, like Shankar, whoever it is that downloads the gun. I mean, it's Shankar, isn't it? It's got to be Shankar. Yeah, Shankar. We'll put Shankar into the deck. Shankar is just so good. That gives us another little 1-2 punch for dealing with that sort of thing. Gives us another card that we can do. So what I'm thinking is, if there's another way we could essentially get free plays without having free plays, we should try to do that sort of thing. I kind of like having a couple of holograms in the deck. We're gonna need, we need a little bit of treachery. So what's interesting is that full complement of shuttles, it's just Delta Quadrant fed, okay? So what I like is this idea that we could actually bring in like the Federation Delta Quadrant. We can bring in a couple of the revised people, and then we could put some holodeck doors in, because they would essentially be free play personnel. We wouldn't have a whole lot of them in there, and since we basically have like our turn 1 and potentially our turn 2 downloads set, this is kind of a turn 3 thing, which is fine, because we can always, like, if we get it early, we can always be like, okay, we'll do the holodeck door on turn 2, and then we'll do the different homeworld on turn 3, depending on the opponent. It gives us one additional turn of seeing what it is the opponent's going to do before we decide that it's even worth doing, because realistically, if we're playing against another fast solver opponent, we don't need to do the Braille download right away, or maybe potentially at all, and we can save the defend homeworld for, I need security with this particular skill, let's go find it. The only issue is that holodeck door does not override quadrant restrictions. And Voyager, Mirror Voyager is not, or sorry, Delta Quadrant Voyager is not going to provide us with, it's not going to provide us with the reporting mechanism, because, you know, we're not going to have, you know, we don't have home away from home, and home away from home is going to be shut off anyway. So, so if we do any holograms, they probably are not going to beat Delta Quadrant. As cool as that would be. But one thing we could do, do I have a skill selected here or something? Why am I only seeing, let's just redo the search. Federation, Quadrant, Delta. There we go, now we're seeing them. I mean, one thing we can do is, for the lull factor, is we can put in a revised Janeway and a revised Tuvok, and they can just get each other. So whichever one we would draw, it becomes another free personnel. We can put them both in, we get one of them, play it through the shuttlecraft, and then on the opponent's turn, or even on that turn, we can potentially go get the other one. So I kind of like that. Because I don't think anything else would need to go in. So I kind of like that idea. And then I have an idea for the other thing that I think we're going to do. So let's just pull Mariah Henley as a duplicate that's not really necessary. And Vacor, let's just pull Vacor because she's, you know, I understand why she got put in the deck, but she's not helping us. She's not a free play. And she's not coming in any other way. So Vacor comes out as well. And we're going to just do that. We're going to go with the 2 revised people. So, revised Janeway and revised Tuvok. Okay. And then I think the other thing we should do is we should put in, well, no. The issue with also doing these two is the fact that maybe we're going to undo this. Maybe we're already going to undo this thought because, again, Voyager's probably not the thing that's going to go out and do stuff, and it is our only holodeck, really. No, let's not do that. No, I already am undoing that thought. Now, I still think that pulling those other two people out is the right decision. I don't think either one of those. I don't think the extra Mariah Henley and the copy of Vacor need to be in the deck at all. We need to figure out a better thing to do than that. Another option is that we kind of we decided we lean a little bit more heavily into nanoprobe resuscitations. Right now, just 6 nanoprobes is not necessarily reliable for how many you're going to having one in hand per turn to abuse it. We also need more non-personnel to make sure we have a Type 9 shuttlecraft in our hand should we need to go get one. So, and the other thing is that I don't think that the deck needs Ready Room Door anymore because, yeah, the only thing that Ready Room Door is now going to get is Catherine Janeway because we're just going to assume that Sam Lavelle can get the lower decks for us more times than it's probably not. And if he doesn't get it, we probably don't need it, or we're just going to live without it. So we can pull the Ready Room Door, and we can put in a few more nanoprobe resuscitations. And then what I think we should do is we should find some big time skill bosses, people that are Alpha Quadrant, Federation or not aligned, that we can also just nanoprobe in, just people that get us a ton of skills, right? They don't necessarily play for free, but that's not the point. Vacor wasn't playing for free, and so we're fine with that, okay? I also don't like having Baron in this deck anymore either because, again, he was in there for the Anthro Geo to have it in your opening hand. So we can get rid of Baron. And we're going to find 3 people that are skill hosses, Alpha Quadrant skill hosses, or Federation or not aligned. So Fed and then not any of those. Oops, personnel. How about we go with personnel? Because again, we have the option of being on any property, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe some of these crazy people here might be good. Admiral Cartwright can nullify a treaty. We could put Admiral Janeway in and have another option for getting a Blade of Armor. I really like this. She's got a good skill matrix and then a Blade of Armor special download. And again, we're not caring about AU because we have the ability to put them into play. So we're going to put in Admiral Janeway. Because if we get her in the opening hand, then we now know that we can just go get Barile to go get Transport Inhibitor. And we get multiple cards out of our deck while also protecting ourselves. I like the idea of this Kirk because this becomes another option for setting up nanoprobe resuscitation. I feel like we should put TOS McCoy in the deck. We should put TOS McCoy in the deck, I think, so that we have another way of potentially just playing and getting the I'm a Doctor, Not a Bricklayer. So we're going to go ahead and just put Dr. McCoy in the deck. He's also really good at then, of course, busting up a random medical law. Medical tricorders in the deck. Somebody here downloads it, and I can't remember who it is. Does somebody download it? Or am I crazy? It's not the Doctor, because he gets hollow emitter. Yeah, I guess I don't really know off the top of my head who's getting medical tricorder. Oh, is it Samantha Wildman? No, because yeah, any science related equipment card. That's what it is. Any science related equipment card. That's what it is. It is Mama Wildman. We could go with Beverly Crusher, and then provide us with the second ability to download that as an option. I mean, obviously this Kirk is a ridiculous skill hog, but since we have the other Kirk, that doesn't work. I like the idea of being able to get like a data. Like this data is really, really good. Like the original data is pretty good. This data is pretty good because we get to select the skill we would potentially need. First contact data is pretty solid. I really like the idea of maybe putting Deanna in because, her ability just to like, almost like get an additional turn can be pretty good. Let's kind of like narrow this down a little bit. Let's save the deck. And now let's actually check what is our skills that we need. Not really anything. I mean, the deck has already got so many personnel in it that pretty much like everything is covered. So again, we can just go with whatever skill boss we think is just really, really good. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about playing all this Delta Quadrant stuff and then having just so many people in the deck to begin with. I mean, the deck is a ton of people, so like everything's covered, Jadzia. Jedzi is a skill hoss, and she provides a lot of like, you know, like. But engineer is the thing that we need a lot of in the deck, which we already have a ton of it. Yeah. 12 science. You know, Astro Arco, archaeology that's not on an officer is always a good thing. You know, just 5 solid skills and a command star and good stats. I like Jadzia. Kind of a strict improvement over Baron, that's for sure. So, I mean, the only thing was that Baron could play for free with new arrivals, but meh. I don't think we're worried about such things. And so could Vacor. I mean, Vacor, I suppose, could play for free with new arrivals, but meh. We could put this Jean-Luc into the deck just so that we have like an additional droney drone. Or this one. Droney drone. I mean, this one's probably preferable because we would have potentially additional protection against board. So then, oh my gosh, okay, so between full complement of shuttles, doesn't provide anything because we're not going to be in the Delta Quadrant. Okay, so it would basically be, yeah, okay. It'd be +4, and then we would have double that, and so yeah. We would actually be able to survive against a board ship battling us, a regular board ship. Because we would go, because Voyager would be 8 +4 to 12 times 2, 24. Yeah, they would have to have the battle bridge. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know that it's necessarily that big of a deal. Because if we can't survive an attack, you know, like a one shot, you know, if we can't just like say nope, your shot doesn't even hit me, then I don't know that it's even worth doing. Lol is really interesting. Get any 2 skills present, so you can double up on anything. Who's our other like computers? Oh, yeah, Balana. Yeah, we have Balana, so we don't really need another computer skill ×2. Could go with Loaxana, provides empathy. We could special download a non-aligned Odo during the opponent's turn, just essentially as another free play. Kind of like that because like the non-aligned Odo isn't bad. Not really seeing a whole lot else here, so it's just gonna basically be. I mean, it is just basically gonna be kind of a. What kind of skill bosses can we get? mean, I wonder if we shouldn't just put like a Suna in a put Suna and Reflection Therapy in the deck. I mean, here's a good one. It's Data Picard. That's 6 really good skills all together. Tons of attributes. Yeah. I mean, I suppose we could put Captain Nog in. He could special download Ready Room Door, get us Catherine Janeway. We could try to find room for Captain's Log. If we did that again, put the Ready Room Door back in. I don't really know what would come out. Oops. There we go. Otherwise, we can always leave it like it is. We can always just leave the deck exactly how it is right now. As far as like non-aligned personnel, there is Jonathan Archer. Jonathan Archer's pretty good. So is Akel and Rokel. Beverly and Will. Anti Tricorder. Again, gets us another possible download of the Anti Tricorder. Gives us medical ×2, biology, diplomacy, anthro-navigation, and just a ton of skills on a single card. Or sorry, a ton of attributes on a single card. Kind of like it. Kind of like it. I don't know what else. Nothing really jumps out at me. Gallatin's got a lot of skills. Yeah. Unless we have Kamala. Any skill present. Select any skill present is pretty good. But then if we do that, we might as well just go with Law. Law gets us 2 of them. Loss is pretty good. Doesn't hurt to have more females with Leela, and then have those females be attributes +1. Because at this point, we're strictly going for something that's interesting or potentially provides us with some kind of weird benefit. Because obviously, we've got every skill covered. I mean, having so many people in the deck, you're going to have every skill in enough. It's just a question of drawing it and playing it, which is why we're looking for just people with a ton of skills or people with an ability. So I kind of like Beverly and Will, and I kind of like Jonathan Archer. It's a lot of skill coverage. A lot of skill coverage. Yeah. I think we'll do that. We'll just go with Beverly and Will. just as an additional way to download that equipment. And then Jonathan Archer, just because he has a ton of skills. Okay. The dilemmas, dilemmas, like I said, dilemmas are that sort of thing where, it's kind of the opponent's making decisions. You're making decisions about what you think you're going to see in the meta. So that's definitely just going to kind of be up to the individual to figure out. I mean, Sectarians is solid. I question like the double Forsakens, of course. I mean, obviously it sets up the rules of obedience, so it's kind of going for like an honor or treachery drain here. I guess I don't really know how effective honor or treachery drain is, because honor and treachery just constantly show up everywhere. So I guess that would be my suggestion on that. Would be, this is probably, this is definitely not like competitive in my personal opinion. So let's mess with the dilemmas just a little bit. Let's take out the Forsakens and the rules of obedience. Let's do let's just come up with some combos, like powerful combos here. We'll just do some straight up combos. With 17 dilemmas, we can go a 2-card combo and then 5 3-card combos. So we can just have Experience Beige Dead End at a mission, and have that be whatever gets seated at the farthest end of the space line. Or we can put Experience Beige into a combo and have it just be Edo Probe Dead End, or the higher the fewer dead end. Let's just go with it be the higher the fewer dead end as the 2-card combo. And space is basically Thasian powers, Cytherians, something, Gomtu, Cytherians, Thasian powers. If we're gonna have Denevin neural parasites, we want to have something more commitment to it. So Founder Secret, maybe just put a Founder Secret in. Otherwise, we could just have it be like a setup for Med Crisis, where we have like something to make sure that like there's potentially like a medical there, and then possibly have it die to Denevin. But yeah. We do have a couple of 23rd century things. We go like, what we could do is we can just do kind of a let's put in a Science Drain. Let's just put a Science Drain dual combo in. The Science Drain is probably a little bit more reliable, I guess. So, just put in a Spock's Brain and an Unscientific Method, and then the Scientific Method. Okay. And then I feel like this is maybe just a little bit better. Not really quite sure where everything's going here, but we took a dual combo out, we put a dual combo in. You know, it's kind of how it is. So, and then everything else could kind of be kajiggered. Double misinterpreted history is fine. You know, I kind of like maybe as a combo here that's already in the deck is the M13 into a Jolly Chew into a Med Crisis, because, you know, we could kill a dude, and then if they didn't see the Jolly Chew coming, we could like target medical or biology, and then Med Crisis just gets harder. And then like the other planet combo can basically just be, you know, Clown Guillotine into Denim and Neuroparasites into whatever. So, anyway, then like I said, the dilemmas, this is entirely because we're not setting up dilemmas in any way, shape, or form with the rest of the seed deck or the draw deck. It's just kind of whatever. So, yeah, so the dilemmas are just kind of like screw around with it however you want. But I feel like now the deck is more tuned. It's a little bit more efficient with what it wants to do on that opening turn. It's more in tune with what you're going to potentially just want to do with the deck. It's moving faster. It's going to, you know, hopefully potentially move faster and just be a little more low to the ground. Taking out, you know, one Type 9 shuttlecraft is not that big of a deal because we'll have more nanoprobe resuscitations to go find one with full complement of shuttles. So we're not really concerned, you know. Of course, like thinning the deck out is kind of like the ideal, though. If you have a Type 9 shuttlecraft in your deck, you would just discard it to get a Type 9 shuttlecraft to thin your deck out as you go along. But, you know, 9 nanoprobes, 9 Type 9 shuttlecraft, your opening turn, first turn or second, you know, for second turn and third turn, you're going to have Type 9 shuttlecrafts in your opening hand, or in your hand in order to get that to go. But now at least, with the way the deck is set up, with Delve Impersonator and Barrener, you're now able to guarantee that you get Duck Blind, and then the assigned support personnel to get Lieutenant D'Amato. Basically means you can fly Voyager, and you know if you get it right next door, you can land it, and then boom, there you go. You've got a landed Voyager on the planet. You're able to walk out, process ore mining, and have Duck Blind, and you're good to go. And then against most opponents, you would defend Homeworld for Belial to get Transport Inhibitor, so that you would then be able to set up a Transport Inhibitor on the planet, and then, yeah, then your opponent cannot beam down and battle your Duck Blind or process ore people. So, there you go. So yeah, I feel like this is the Alpha Voyager Coach K rebuild version. Go ahead and try it out yourself if you want to, see what you think. If you have any thoughts or suggestions on maybe how to even improve it a little bit more, maybe mess with the personnel a little bit more, you can. So feel free to leave a comment if you have any thoughts on that. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Set up that bell for notifications as I post more videos. On June 5th, you're going to get 3 videos in one day. 3-part building a deck videos, which I've already recorded. So these are getting posted out of the order that I'm recording them. But I'll go over in that video the reason why. So be on the lookout June 5th for a blast of 3 2-hour-long videos then. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. May the profits be with you.